There we go. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are expecting a big crowd tonight. So when you hop on, I just want to point out a couple of features of Zoom webinar so that you can get familiar while we're waiting for everyone to hop on live. So you can use the chat feature in Zoom webinar while you're waiting. I would love for you to let us know where you're joining us from. So in the chat, type where you're from, and I would love for you to share how long you've been living with diabetes. So two things, where you're from, how long ago were you diagnosed with diabetes? The second thing I want to point out is there's a Q&A tab that you have access to, different from the chat. So anytime you have a question during the webinar, I want you to drop that in the Q&A section. And at the end of the webinar, we're going to go through that Q&A, and I'm going to go through those questions and answer them at the end. So two things, drop where you're from in the chat, get familiar with the Q&A section, and we're just going to wait just a minute or two before we start so that we give everyone a chance to hop in live before we get started. So I'm going to open up my chat window so I can say hi to everybody too. Look at all these people. I can't type and talk at the same time. 21 years ago. All right. It looks like we are evening out. If you are just joining us, like I mentioned, drop where you're from, how long you've been living with diabetes, and then I pointed out the question and answer section. So when I'm going through the webinar, I'm going to be talking quite a bit and sharing a lot of information. So if you think of a question, please drop it into the Q&A section so that at the end of the webinar, I can address it. And if I don't get to it tonight, we're going to take note of those questions and I will email you the answer. Okay. So if I don't get to your question tonight because of time, I will answer it via email. I promise. Okay. All right. I think we are about ready to get started. Look at all these people. So exciting. Okay. Here we go. All right, I have to close the chat, you guys. So if you are chatting with each other, that's awesome. But if you're chatting to me and I don't answer, it's because I have to close the chat window, because if I have it open, I will not be able to concentrate on what I'm trying to share with you, and it's going to be a hot mess. So I have to close my chat window so that I can focus, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. There we go. All right. Let me see if my counterpart's ready. Are you ready over there?
Alrighty.
All right, here we go. Let's do this thing. All right, Deirdre, you are up.
Perfect. So I'm Deirdre Tomlinson, and I just wanted to introduce myself and Healthenly, which is a community of patients and family caregivers that are helping each other. And we're presenting this webinar with Mary tonight. So I just wanted to give a little overview of what Healthenly is. It's really for people who are going through something right now to find others who've been through that same health situation or a similar one before. And because it's a community of people who've been through it themselves, it's a place to get advice and guidance from someone who really understands and cares. So what's different about Healthenly? Most of us are on Facebook groups and they're awesome, but here are two things that you can do on Healthenly that you can't do on Facebook groups. So the first is that you can create a small team around your health. Sometimes we need something more focused and intimate, and maybe even something one-on-one in order to feel really supported. And you can get that on Healthenly. And additionally, on Healthenly, people put themselves out there as health angels for you to connect to and learn from and team with. And they share their story and their health background and their qualifications so that you can feel really comfortable that you're getting the best advice and support from someone who's the right match for you. So you can join Healthenly as a member, ask questions, respond to other people's posts, create teams, invite friends. And if you happen to have some of those hard-won lessons yourself, you can be a health angel too, which is a really rewarding role to play. And now, since you didn't join to hear me chatter away, here is Mary Van Doren again.
That's me. All right. So for those of you who don't know who I am Mary. So this slide is all about who I am and what is Sugar Mama Strong. So I'm not going to share my entire life story with you. Just the last decade. Not really. I'm not going to share all the details of my life story, but this was me in 2012. This was really the start of my transformation story. It was the start of my life out of denial. For the first decade of my diagnosis, I ignored it almost completely, except when I was pregnant with my children. So you can see, obviously, there's a huge physical transformation for me, 100 pounds down. Along the way, I became a different person, inside and outside. In the beginning, I think you can see it on my face almost, and it makes me so sad when I look at that picture. Not because I hated myself or any of those things. And I know that the ladies listening, I know that you understand this feeling. You know, when you show someone a picture and if you've lost some weight, they say, oh, but you were pretty before. And you're like, well, I didn't say I was ugly. I just said I lost weight. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just doubted myself so much, and I was so afraid of everything. And I just didn't have energy to be the mom that I wanted to be and to do the things that I wanted to do. And, you know, over the last 8 years, I have gotten my personal trainer certification. I'm now certified as a specialist as a trainer for people with diabetes through the Diabetes Motion Academy. And I've launched Sugar Mama Strong. So what is that? It is a community for women with diabetes from all walks of life, a support system that is truly a sisterhood. Last year, I launched Sugar Mama Strong Fitness and Wellness, which is a program to enhance women's lives, to propel them forward on their fitness and wellness journey in a supportive, judgment-free environment. I call what I do the Sugar Mama Strong action steps. They changed my life. We focus on fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability. So that's who I am. This is where I started. And tonight's webinar is I could talk about it all night. I won't, because I know we have to sleep at some point. So I'll try to control myself. But this is my favorite subject. So I'm so excited that you registered. I'm so excited that you're here, and let's do it. So why are we working together? So Healthenly brings people together through community, through their teams, and connects them with various health conditions, which is something that Sugar Mama Strong cannot do. It's like a missing puzzle piece, I feel like. You know, women with diabetes, we have sometimes more than one, I say sometimes, more often than not, we're diagnosed with several things. And it can be a really hard balance to deal with them all together. And I think it's um, an important service, an important component of our journey that we get input from our peers in a way that Healthenly provides. And so I was stoked to sign up as a health angel, and even more excited to present this webinar together so that we could get the message out about building community, about what we offer together. And like it says on the slide, together we are stronger. And so that is something that I truly, truly believe. So let's talk about what this webinar, the next 40 minutes or so, we are going to focus on. It's all about the mindset. I have been living with diabetes now for 21 years. That's half my life. I'm old, y'all. 42 years on the planet, and 21 of those I've been living with diabetes, which means 21 years I have been a human science experiment. And those of you who have been doing this for a while, you know what that means. Every day is different. And when you improve your mindset, you can face those challenges every day head on without feeling like burying your head in the sand. Because if you start up here, mindset wise, and diabetes knocks you down a little, then you're still up here. But if you start all the way down here and then diabetes knocks you down, you know, it's harder to pick yourself back up. I'm a big believer when you're trying to improve your health, whether it's weight loss, whether it's your numbers, whether it's getting stronger physically, I believe that the physical results will only be long lasting if you work on your mindset first. You have to figure out how you got to be where you are. So in my case, I didn't get to be 300 pounds by accident. That wasn't something that just happened to me. I got myself there through my choices, through my behaviors, my patterns, and I had to figure out my junk. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I had to address that so that I could move forward. And it wasn't until I started doing that work that I started seeing results that stuck. I kept doing that yo-yo, that weight roller coaster, you know, the one where you lose 10 pounds and then you gain 12 pounds back, and then you lose 12 pounds and then you gain 13 pounds back. I did that my whole life, right? It wasn't until I did the hard stuff, this part, that I really saw results that lasted. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Get excited. All right, so health isn't just about blood sugar control. It's about what you think and how you talk to yourself too. I love that quote. All right, so before we begin, a winning diabetes mindset starts with love and honesty. You guys, I know it sounds hokey already, but you have to trust me, because I was the person who was like, okay, mindset work. Are we talking about Dr. Phil? Like, are you going to make me read self-help books and tell me to love each other? And like, that's not what we're talking about here. Please start with an open mind. And I know some of it, like, I can see you rolling your eyes. Don't do that. Okay. Just take a deep breath. Have an open mind. Not everything that I share tonight will be for you, and that's okay. The beauty of this is that you get to pick and choose what you implement in your life, right? What's going to work for you. So you can't hate yourself into a version of yourself you can love. When you start to work on yourself, when you start to work towards a goal, you can't do it because you hate who you are. You can't do it because you hate who you see when you look in the mirror. Because I promise you that will not change you. It will not move you forward. So it has to start with love. You have to be doing the work because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself. You also have to get honest with yourself. You have to get honest about the stories that you tell yourself. I would tell myself things like, I'm not strong enough to do this. I have no willpower. I don't deserve either to be happy, or I don't deserve the time for myself, or I don't deserve to buy myself that gym membership or that healthy food or that whatever. We like to make up stories. And we make up stories because they serve our purpose. So I was telling myself that willpower story for a good 20 years because I didn't really want to do the work for 20 years. And so I relied on that story. I had to get honest about it. Once I was honest about it, that I didn't really want to do the work for 20 years, I could let it go. So love and honesty is where it begins. Okay. Now, the next this webinar is going to be 10 things that you can do right now. I mean, not right this second, but like tomorrow, to help you shift your mindset to a better place. Like I said a minute ago, you're not going to love all of them. They're not all going to be for you. That's okay. Pick the ones that speak to you. Remember, if you have questions at any point, put them in the Q&A, okay, so that we can address them at the end. Take out a note, piece of paper and a pencil, write down some notes. Here we go. Small steps, number 1 and number 2. All right, Post-its. I love Post-its. Here's why. I have them all over my house. I have signs. I've gotten bigger than Post-its now. Now I have like pictures, signs, motivational posters, Post-it notes with sayings that remind you who you are and what you're working towards. Okay, I can do this. I'm strong. Diabetes won't stop me. Okay, I am more than the number on the scale. I am more than my A1C. I am perfectly imperfect. That was one of the ones I used to have on the Post-it on my desk. The more that you see these things, the more that you internalize them. And even if you don't believe it today, the more that you read them, the more that you'll start believing it. And again, I know when you first think about that, it's like the affirmations when you stand in the mirror and I am beautiful, I am beautiful, I am beautiful. And you're like, I feel ridiculous. I get it. But I promise you, having them around your house can help. Okay. The second thing is a gratitude list. And I know it's November and everyone on Facebook is doing this gratitude challenge, right? So here's the thing. A gratitude list is great all year round. Here's why. Showing gratitude or being thankful is a great way to start your day, number 1. Number 2, you can, studies have shown actually that it helps you sleep better. Studies have shown that it can reduce anxiety and depression symptoms. It improves relationships. All of these things just by jotting a few things down every day that you're thankful for. How amazing is that? So starting your day with a grateful heart can set the tone for the rest of your day. It doesn't have to be an essay or a research paper. It can be a quick, even just in your mind. It doesn't even have to be something that you write down. Okay. Before you get out of bed in the morning, something that, you run through as part of your mental checklist. Okay. Number 3, the 5-minute stop. I'm going to give you a little history about me. I have worked very hard to work on my binge eating behavior. So that's part of my struggle with food. I am an uncontrolled emotional eater. So I can undo a successful eating day in 5 minutes with a box of cereal and a spoon. So the 5-minute stop really helps me. Here's what it is. You recognize the negative thought or the negative behavior or the negative reaction to something. So for me, it tends to be some kind of stressor or anxiety. That's usually my trigger. Something will upset me or stress me out, and I will head to the refrigerator or the pantry, and I can catch myself now before the first bite. And it really is just a split second, and I can pause. Okay. So the 5-minute stop, and it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes. It can be a 30-second pause when you catch yourself. It's like a reset. You can pause, you identify the feeling or the behavior, and you can redirect yourself once you identify it. Okay. What am I feeling? What triggered it? And then you can deal with it in a different way. Because eating the cereal is not going to address the anxiety. True story. It's just going to make me feel awful. So I've learned that I can catch myself before it happens. Am I always successful? No. But more often than not, I can catch myself. So 5-minute stop. Even if you have to set a timer, walk away, take a breath, redirect, and then reset. All right. I love this one. Goals, not numbers. As women, and let me know in the chat. I'm going to open up my chat. I might regret this. Okay. Let me know in the chat if you would consider yourself a perfectionist. Just say yes or no. Would you consider yourself a perfectionist? Yes or no? I should say when it comes to weight loss or fitness. Lots of yeses, lots of nos. Kind of even here. Yes, when it comes to my health. Okay. So I think it's interesting because I think some people are perfectionists when it comes to certain areas of your life. Like I was definitely a perfectionist at work, but not at home. Definitely a perfectionist when it came to certain goals that I would set for myself, which is where the goals, not numbers, simple step comes in. So here's what it is. A lot of us say, I'm going to walk 2 miles, or I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes, or I'm going to eat exactly 1,300 calories, or exactly 50 carbs a day, or whatever the number is. And when we don't do that exact thing for whatever reason, we get very twitchy. And instead of setting that very specific goal, if that is not working for your mindset, again, everybody is different. Some people do very well setting that specific goal. You're not one of them. That's okay. Just take the action. For example, say that you're going to go walk and go walk. If it's not 2 miles and it's 1.5, take a breath. It's okay. Do you see what I'm saying? You still went for the walk. Celebrate the win. So maybe your goal is I will walk 3 times a week instead of I will walk 2 miles 3 times a week. So you get a little less specific with your goal to relieve that pressure of perfection with yourself. It's a tiny tweak for your mindset, a little bit. Okay. Same thing with your numbers. We focus so much as women on perfection, on that I can't make a mistake or I can't be less than perfect especially when it comes to our diabetes self-care. I feel like we're very hard on ourselves in that realm. So focus on taking the action, whatever it is that you're working on at this specific point, and focus on the fact that you're showing up for yourself instead of the specific number. Okay. Right. Watch, read. Listening to podcasts is my new favorite mindset hack. Here's why. They're short, they're sweet. You get the full message in one episode, right? So if I need a boost and a pick-me-up and a, shot of motivation, I can listen to something while I'm in the car and I get the full benefit right away. So if you have not checked out podcasts yet, almost every smartphone has an app already loaded, but you can also do a Google search, I'm sure. This little image here on the screen is my podcast with Healing Together, which is from the folks at Healthenly. It is Conquering Type 2 Diabetes. It is my interview that they did with me. Take a listen, share it with people that you know who either are living with diabetes or who could use a little knowledge about what it's like living with diabetes, and maybe you have a hard time putting it into words. I think everyone could use a listen. But podcasts in themselves, like I said, are a great way to get a quick boost for your mindset. YouTube videos, even a song, a book, music, all of those things can be a quick pick-me-up for your mood. Okay, we're halfway through. That was number 5. Remember, questions in the Q&A section. I'll look at them at the end, I promise. All right. Small step number 6, self-awareness. You guys, this one is a big one. It's something that hold on. You guys can't see my screen anymore, can you? Hold on. There we go. Is it back?
Yep,
Yes.
it's back.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, self-awareness is a hard one because I call it one of the ugly ones because it's something that takes work. It's one of the ones that we tend to put off. Okay. So post-it notes and listening to podcasts and all of those things, those can be fun. But self-awareness, not so much fun. But I'll tell you, sometimes the ones that aren't so much fun are the ones that we need the most. So let's talk about it. I'm just pulling up I was trying to pull up my little cheat sheet, you guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I had some notes and I didn't want to miss anything. And I tried to pull it up and it messed up the whole presentation. So now I'm looking at it on my phone. So, I'm going to be honest here and tell you that, because if you're wondering why I'm looking down at my phone, that's why. I'll tell you that. Okay. So here's the thing. You have to become, instead of trying to fix all your problems, instead of trying to fix all your feelings, that's like our immediate reaction, right? When something happens and we feel sad or we feel scared or we feel anxious, we want to fix it right away. But instead of trying to fix it, we need to start becoming curious about it. Why is that our reaction? Why is that our first reaction to that situation every time? So becoming curious about your patterns, becoming curious about your reactions. Okay. We talk ourselves out of things every single day. Let me say that again. We talk ourselves out of things every single day. So what is your default response? Okay. Are you someone who immediately turns to anger? Are you someone who immediately is compassionate towards another person's situation? Here are the benefits of becoming self-aware. Better relationships. You're in a better mood. You're more productive. So how do you become, you're like, well, Mary, that's all well and good, but how do I become more self-aware? Okay, here's the thing. You have to, this one is the hardest one, I think. You have to start looking at what annoys you about other people. That one's hard, right? So chances are, if it annoys you in other people, it's something that you're worried about for yourself. So if you think Susie talks too much about her looks, or you think she talks too much about her money, or you think she's really selfish, inside there's something about yourself that you're worried about those things. So that's something to reflect on. So something that bothers you about others is something that you're maybe insecure about yourself. Identify your emotional kryptonite. So we all have an emotion that we are willing to do anything to avoid. We do not want to be in a situation that will cause us to feel whatever that emotion is. So we will do whatever it takes to avoid it. For me, that happens to be being embarrassed. I do not want to be embarrassed. So I will do whatever it takes to avoid a situation where I could potentially be embarrassed. So you have to figure that out. That's an awareness thing. Ask for feedback from other people in your life about blind spots maybe that you have of your own behavior. And these are scary things, you guys. So this is a whole different level of mindset work than post-it notes and reading books and, watching YouTube videos. This is like next level stuff, right? Learning something new. identifying the mental behaviors that aren't doing you any favors. So that goes back to my being honest with yourself from the beginning. So what are the behaviors that you're still allowing in your life that are not serving you anymore? Ask yourself, this is a big one. Ask yourself, am I allowing history to repeat itself? Am I falling into the same patterns over and over again? And those of you who are on a health journey, that's an important question. Do you allow the same patterns over and over into your life? Do you start strong and then you fizzle out? Do you change your whole life at once and then it gets overwhelming and you quit? But then you do it all over again and all over again and all over again. You guys, that's a pattern. When you become aware of that, what are you going to do about it? You have to do something different, right? This is a big one. You're all tangled up. You got to figure yourself out, becoming self-aware. So that's a little picture. You got to untangle yourself. All right. Move your mind by moving your body. So we're going to put a poll up for this one. Hopefully it works. This is our first poll that we're doing. There it is. It should be on your screen. What prevents you from incorporating exercise into your daily routine? Two options up there. If you could just vote for me, just pick one and we'll leave it up for a little bit. Let's see. Feel like the Jeopardy theme song should be playing in the background. Hopefully everyone had a chance to vote. I think we can go ahead and close it. Hopefully I get to see the results. I don't know if I do or not. Maybe.
Mary,
Yes.
I can tell you the results from
Oh,
Healthenly.
thank you.
So 25% of your respondents can't find the time.
Okay.
13% just hate it.
Okay.
54% say I'm not motivated,
Okay.
and 8% don't know where to start.
Okay. Thank you, Healthenly.
Now,
Oh,
maybe
there it
it'll
is.
show up now.
Yes, I see it now. Look at that, 54%. Okay. So finding the time and not motivated were the top two choices there. And I'm sure there are other reasons that factor in. I could have probably gone all the way to Z with the choices there, right? Okay. Those of you who are on the webinar who know me are laughing right now because this quote is on the screen. So exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't shoot their husbands. They just don't. Okay, so move your mind by moving your body. There are so many benefits of exercise. And I know that word makes people cringe because it seems so formal, just like working out. Oh gosh, I have to do a workout. It's like I have to, like a chore. And when I tell you that the person that I am now who works out every day, I was not that person for a really long time. And even in the beginning, it took me a long time to love it. And there are still days that I don't. But it's how I make a living. I help people exercise. And there are still some days that I get up and I'm exhausted and I don't want to work out. But I do it anyway. That's the difference. So how does moving your body help you move your mind? So number one, like the quote says, endorphins, right, make you happy. But you also get the satisfaction of doing something that you know is good for you, that's going to make you feel better, and doing something that you said you were going to do. I would guess that most of the people listening right now have, at some point in their journey, made a commitment to themselves that they were going to add more activity to their life at some point. And when you don't follow through with that, for whatever reason, it's kind of like a bummer. It's like a blow to your ego because it's just another thing that you didn't do for yourself. And as women, we put ourselves on the back burner so often. That time excuse that we put on ourselves, we put it for everything. Everything that has to do with us as a priority, as I need time too, we use it for everything. So it's exercise is something that benefits you not just for your numbers and for your weight loss and for your strength and your energy and all of those things, but it's also your self-esteem and how you feel about your health journey in general and how you feel about reaching your goals and how you feel about how strong you are in your body physically and how strong you are in your mind. So let's talk about how you can do it without feeling like you hate it. For the 13% of you who said you just hate it. And I get it. I was the person, and I say this all the time, I was the person who would go to the grocery store, go to the mall. The mall was the worst. And I would drive around for 15 minutes until the person who was parked really close came out so I could park close because I didn't want to walk far. I did not want to walk far. And I was willing to drive around in circles in the shopping mall, parking lot until they got there. So I hear you. And especially if it was hot outside, like forget it. I wasn't going to do it. I'd rather valet. I was not going to do it. So here's the thing. Exercise or activity, let's call it activity, because that's the goal, to move. It doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be, I am going to go to the gym and work out for an hour. It doesn't have to be that. I don't care if for you, it's when you're watching TV, the commercial comes on and you get up and you have a dance party in your living room. Okay. It can be working in your garden. It can be walking around your house in circles. It can be going for a short walk in the neighborhood if the weather's good. It can be while you're cooking dinner that you're doing, getting on your tippy toes. It can be that you're, dancing with your kids or picking them up and down or bouncing them around. It doesn't always have to be formal, okay? It can be something for a minute. It can be stretching in bed before you get up. It doesn't have to be something that's so rigid that it feels like work. I think that's where we trip ourselves up and we think that it has to be how she does it or how they do it or how Dr. Facebook person says to do it. We get so hung up on what others are doing that we put that on ourselves and our journey, and it makes competition really makes us crazy. So you have to find what works for you. The important thing is that you're moving. And I say all the time, just keep moving. Okay? Do something, even if it's for a minute. March in place. That's all it is. If you do that for 5 minutes every day, that's 5 minutes. Okay? And then the next week, do it 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. And before you know it, you're going to be doing it longer. Okay? So it's just incorporating little changes. You're going to get that mood boost. You're going to feel better and you're going to want to do more. All right, number 8. Stop procrastinating. Okay, women are like the queens. Okay, I'm doing another opening the chat. Yes or no question. Are you a procrastinator? Yes or no? Let's see if I can even open my chat thing. There we go. I see the answers coming in. Yes, 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 yes. I just saw 10,000%. Juanita said 10,000%, all capital letters. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we have a lot of procrastinators. You guys are going to love the meme that I made just for you. I'm very proud of it. Okay, here we go. People wait for the right time, the right feeling, but behavior can change attitude. You can take 10 minutes now or 5 or 1, and that can make the difference. Okay, I know you've all seen this meme, but I changed the words just for us. Who are we? We are women with diabetes. What do we want? Health and wellness. When will we start? Monday. It is Monday, and they say next Monday. I feel like that is our life. Repeat, repeat, repeat. We want it. We say we want it. We declare it. We want it. And then we say, oh, we'll do it next week. I mean, if that is not the truth, I don't know what is. Okay. So we are the queens of procrastination. You guys, we just have to do it. Stop procrastinating, take a deep breath, and do one thing. Just one. Okay? You will never always be motivated, so you must learn to stay disciplined. And that is the key. You're not going to want to do it all the time. So you have to be disciplined to do it. And that's me with my workouts. Like I was just saying, I don't want to do it every day, but I'm disciplined to do it, which is why it still gets done. All right, number 9, think in increments. When I was 300 pounds, if I thought to myself that I have to lose 100 plus pounds, I would never have gotten there. I would have never, I would have felt so overwhelmed looking at the big picture. That's why we have this little seedling looking at the big tree, and it's like, no way, I'm never going to get there. So break things down for yourself. Look at it 1 pound at a time, 5 pounds at a time. Make a reward system for yourself so that you can feel accomplished along the way instead of waiting for the big goal. Okay. Celebrate yourself every step of the way. Be proud every step of the way. So break things down for yourself. Okay. All right. So stick around for the last small step, number 10, holding yourself accountable. I'm going to talk to you about how to do it, how not to let yourself off the hook, and how to finally get past the roadblock you set up that holds you back. So at the end of the webinar tonight, you're going to have the opportunity to get a bonus from me by registering on Healthenly. Okay, so here's how you do it. You go to healthenly.org/learn. You register on Healthenly for an account. That's where Deidre shared in the beginning that you can post questions, you can create teams, you can also volunteer as a health angel like I do, which is sharing your experience with, whether it's with diabetes or other chronic conditions. There are health angels for all different types of things. On mine, it says type 2 diabetes and fitness. So whatever you feel like you have to offer and, based on your experiences. So the first 100 registrations on Healthenly are going to get an email from me with 6 Sugar Mama Strong workouts that are not available publicly, you guys. So these are usually members only of my fitness and wellness group. So they are private. You're also going to get a Sugar Mama Strong meal plan. And you're also going to get an affirmation list that has never been released before. So you can start making those Post-its that I talked about that I love so much. So you're going to get all of that directly from me when you register on Healthenly. Okay. So again, if you have questions, put them in that Q&A. First 100 registrations, healthenly.org/learn. Okay. So that's only for the first 100. So keep that in mind. All right. Here we go. Holding yourself accountable. I feel like accountability is the missing piece for so many people. Okay, here's why. We know what to do. We know what to do, you guys. It's the doing. It's the doing. It's the execution that we struggle with. Am I right? We know what to do, but we let ourselves off the hook so easily. We need a circle to hold us accountable. Okay? We need the people that are going to give us that kick in the behind when we are not showing up for ourselves and doing the things that we said we were going to do. Okay? So I feel like Sugar Mama Strong Fitness and Wellness that I mentioned earlier, the accountability of that group is its magic sauce, so to speak. Okay. So that circle that we have, that judgment-free zone where we can be honest about our plans, is what makes it special. So you have to figure out, who do you trust to tell your plans to? That's not going to laugh at you. That's not going to say, oh, you've done this so many times before. Why is this time different? You know those people you have in your life. Okay. You need to be honest about what you're doing or not doing. So accountability is not just showing up when it's good. Accountability is showing up no matter what. So as women, we're really good at sharing when we're doing all the things that we think we're supposed to do. Look at my chicken and broccoli, and look at my gallon of water I drank today, and look at my sweaty selfie. We're great at sharing those things. But when we had Pizza Hut for dinner, we're like, I'm not sharing that. What are people going to think? You know, they're going to think that you're human and you had pizza for dinner. That's what they're going to think. If you chose the right circle. That's the key. Are you sharing with the people who are truly supporting you, or are you sharing with people who are judging you? So there's a difference. Okay. You need to make your plan, your accountability plan, and you need to create a visual for yourself. Do you have a place where you're sharing? Do you have something that you can track your habits that you're working towards? Okay. That's how you hold yourself accountable, whether it's a workout calendar, whether it's a meal plan, whether it's a tracker that, did you stay on track today? Yes or no? Hang it on your refrigerator. Okay. But having that circle of support is so important. Okay. It has to be the right circle. Sometimes our circle can sabotage us. So choosing is key. All right. We're going to circle back to the beginning where I talked about love and honesty. Remember I said it starts with loving yourself and being honest with yourself. But now we're going to talk about other people. So you fill your own cup, you're taking care of yourself, then you can lead by example and have a positive impact on those around you. And that's how I feel about Healthenly. I feel like because I'm taking care of myself, I can pour into other people. Okay. So when you are on your own health journey, and it's the same with the people around you, your family, your friends, your support system, when you feel good, you can take better care of the people around you, right? You can pour into them. You can't, there's that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? It's the same thing. Being honest with others, you need to tell your circle what you need from them, okay? Where you need their support, the changes you need to make together as a family or as a support system, and you need to tell them what's helpful and what's not. Okay, that's all has to do with your mindset as well. Okay, being honest in your relationships and how your people are supporting you or how they're not. All right, so let's review. Here's the list. So if you missed any, now's your chance to get it written down. Okay, here we go. Oops. Post-its, gratitude list, the 5-minute stop, goals not numbers, listening, watching, reading, self-awareness, moving your body, stop procrastinating, breaking it down, and holding yourself accountable. All right. Okay, you guys, here's where you can find me. Find Sugar Mama Strong on Instagram at Sugar Mama Strong, on Facebook at facebook.com/, and then my website is right there, www.sugarmamastrong.com. Those of you who are not in my Facebook group yet, I have an amazing support community just for women with diabetes. It is women only, no men allowed. If there are any men listening to the webinar, I'm so sorry. Just for women only. If you look on Facebook and you put in the search bar, Sugar Mama Strong Diabetes Support for Women, that is our Facebook community. Join us there. It is an amazing resource. The next offering I have for you is our specialized fitness and wellness program. It is, again, women only. Sorry, guys. That group is fitness and wellness focused. So like I mentioned in the beginning, nutrition, exercise, mindset, and accountability. Okay. Workouts are modified. We have live workouts, a library of workouts, weekly coaching, one-on-one support with me. You can find all of the information on the website, and there's a 2-week free trial. So there's no risk at all for checking us out. I would love to work with you. If you have any questions at all, contact me on one of these social media channels, and I will be sure to message you back. Here, let me put the next slide up. And I think we are getting ready to start the Q&A. Deidre, do you have?
Yeah, I have some questions for you. Thank you so much, Mary. That was incredible. I'm so grateful for you sharing some of your personal stories. I was so enthralled, and at one point you just told us all to take a deep breath, and I just did it. I couldn't help myself. It was like if you had told me to run around the block, I might have done it. So thank you. Let's see. So a bunch of good questions that came in. A couple from Annette, and I'll just combine these for you. The questions are, do you have any good breakfast ideas? And what are the best fruits for diabetes?
Okay, I have my favorite breakfast ideas. I'm a very simple person, you guys. So this is not going to be fancy at all. I like eggs. I like doing egg muffins, like in the little tins. I do them, either in my Instapot. I do different combinations. Hard-boiled eggs don't get boring for me. I do like oatmeal. I know some people can't do it. Don't yell at me. I know some people can't. I don't have a problem. You guys, I'm having technical difficulties. My computer's gonna die. Plug that in real fast. I'm saving it, don't worry. Saved. Okay. Fruit-wise, berries are the lowest on the glycemic index. So they are going to be less likely to spike your blood sugar. That being said, the only real way to know what's best is to try and test. And that's for any food. So like I just mentioned oatmeal, I don't spike with oatmeal. I pair it with a protein, and it doesn't spike my blood sugar. But again, some people absolutely cannot eat it. So the best way for any food, potatoes, avocados, eggs, anything, for you specifically, is to try it, test your blood sugar 2 hours later, see what how your body responds to it. That's the only way to know if it works for you.
Awesome, thank you. That's that brought us back around to the beginning when you talked about being a science experiment.
It really is. It really, and the crazy thing is sometimes like you'll test one day and it was fine, and then the next day it's not fine, and you're like, but I thought it was fine. And you know.
So staying on this topic for a moment, this is a seasonal question. What should I watch out for, or what can I eat at Thanksgiving?
So I have a theory about holidays. It might not be the typical answer you're looking for, so take it how you want. You have a couple of choices. If you're looking to stay completely on your nutrition plan and you want to have a low carb meal, you're going to stick with your turkey, you're going to stick with your veggies, and you're going to have a salad, and that's it. And you're going to go about the rest of your day and you'll be fine. If you're looking to have a normal Thanksgiving experience, here are my tips for you. Stick to the Thanksgiving specific foods. So if there are things that your family only cooks at Thanksgiving, like it's a once a year food, have a small portion of that and enjoy it because it's once a year. So for example, my family, we have turkey, I do mashed potatoes, and I do all the normal things. I'm not going to eat mashed potatoes because you can have mashed potatoes all year round. But I make a certain sweet potato dish that I only make on Thanksgiving. I will be having some of that dish because I only make it once a year. So for me, I don't take some of everything. I only take the things that are special to Thanksgiving. So you just have to decide for you, like what matters, you know? And of course I take a small portion. I fill the rest of my plate with the white meat turkey, and, you know, I do make a salad and that kind of thing. So, but I do enjoy the seasonal food that is specific to Thanksgiving. So I don't waste it on higher carb stuff that I can have all the time.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's about prioritizing. And then is there any part of it that is about making the plan ahead of time? So you know going in what you're going to treat yourself to?
I think that's especially important if you're not the one hosting. So if you're going to someone else's home, I think it's important to ask what's on the menu so that you can be prepared, or that you can offer to bring something that you know is kind of a safety net for you. And that way, you know, going in, okay, here's my strategy. I'm going to have what I brought and some of XYZ. So yeah, I definitely think there has to be a game plan involved. And the game plan might be, I'm going all out and I don't care because it's Thanksgiving. That's a game plan. I mean, it's one meal, you know, and so you have to decide that for yourself. We're all grown women, you know, you make the choice. and you live with the consequence, whatever that is, and you move on. It's one day. So make that decision for yourself, what the priority is, what the meal is, own it, and move on from it.
Wonderful. So I know we're over the hour now. I'm wondering if we could maybe do 2 more quick questions.
Sure.
Okay. So another one from the Q&A, is intermittent fasting good?
So I will start off by saying that I am not a registered dietitian and I am not a doctor. So I am not endorsing or telling anyone to try anything without talking to their doctor. Let me just say that. I think that everyone is different and everyone has their own reaction to things. I know a lot of people who have tried it and have had success with it. And I know a lot of people who fast and their blood sugar goes higher when they fast. So there are 2 schools of thought there, that the longer you go without eating, that your liver dumps glucose and your blood sugar goes up. And then there are plenty of people who do intermittent fasting where their numbers are much more stable and they're lower. So I can't tell you what camp you will fall in. So that is definitely a question to address with your doctor. If you have their blessing to try it, do I think it would hurt you to try it if you have their blessing and your medications would support that? I don't think there's a harm in that. But again, it depends on the medication you're on. If you're on insulin and then you're not eating for a super long time, that's a danger too. So there's a lot to take into consideration there. And I know that was like a non-answer, but
Yeah.
I can't give like a specific answer without knowing the whole picture of your medical profile. I feel like that would be a dangerous thing for me to do. So
Yeah, that's totally understandable. So it sounds like it's something to check with your physician about.
yeah.
Okay. Last question is, how can I, and this is in all caps, how can I actually stop procrastinating?
Have me come to your house, pull you out of bed. No. I think that I think you have to recognize what area in your life you procrastinate with, because I think sometimes it's certain things. For example, for me, it's always phone calls. I hate making phone calls. I would rather text someone. Can I just text the phone company? Why can't I text them? I don't want to pick up the phone and call the insurance company. I want to just text them. Why can't I do that in 2020? So is there a certain area of your life that you're procrastinating in? Figure that out first. Figure out what the roadblock is. And I think if it's, for example, if it's your health journey, maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need someone who's gonna do that for you and hold you accountable and, be that, person to do that. Part of it is the discipline, and becoming more disciplined in the area that you want the change. So, and that's something that needs to be developed. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not something you just wake up and you're like, okay, I'm disciplined now. It's a skill that you have to work on. And I think we have to show ourselves some grace in the learning process, because I think we assume that it'll just happen once we make the decision. And we're like, okay, now I have to be perfect because I said I'm going to work out every day. So, and it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good place to end it, because you are bringing us back to small steps. Once you've decided to act, it's all about taking those small steps. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing your time with us this evening.
You're welcome. I had fun. I'm just looking at the chat real quick. Be sure to go to Healthenly so that you can register, and then you'll get that email from me, healthenly.org/learn. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on there. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.